taking time to rest, taking time with our families. All that we have is our families. And so as we go into Thanksgiving, be grateful for what you have. I get it. Not all of our situations are what we would wish they could be, but realize that we're working towards them improving. And just enjoy the time that you have. The more present that we can get to our situations, the more present that we can get in our lives. And we don't let negative thoughts start to spin around. I get it. When you start to get around family or friends, or you try to take care of yourself, you start feeling guilty, or you start feeling negative about what you haven't done or what you're not doing, or you get angry or you get upset or think all these different feelings. When we can learn to be present in the moment, present with where we are in our physical body, and we just let those thoughts go by. We don't need to grab onto them every single time. We don't need to grab onto, I have a negative thought. Now I have to process why I'm feeling that way. I have this negative thought. Now I got to process why I'm feeling that way. This is something that I had to train myself to do in the last year or so, is I would ruminate on all of my negative thoughts, and I could never allow myself to rest. I could never allow myself to take care of myself, to have self-care, because I was constantly in fight or flight. I was constantly in trying to resolve trauma in my brain, like 24/7. It was this crazy thing. I had studied all about trauma. I had studied all about PTSD and childhood trauma and all of this. And now all of my focus, anytime I would try to rest or take self-care or take time off or take days off, would be either processing that or making myself feel guilty and punishing myself for what I'm not doing. Listen, I'm not perfect at this. I still struggle with it. I deal with this on a daily basis. In fact, last night I had a moment where I just completely was self-deprecating and self-loathing even, and feeling like I'm not doing good enough, and like I'm not doing enough, even though I'm impacting people, and we've made more money in our business than we've ever made, $160,000 in 1 month. I got a new baby on the way. Like, my life is good. My life is amazing. And so I'm telling you this, that even no matter what level of success you reach, you're going to deal with that stuff. It's going to happen. I'm working with a therapist. I got a therapist that I hired, a new one that I'm going to be working with through parts work. And we're going to be working through, talking through those different triggers and those different things. When you make it an intention to heal the behavior that's not serving you, to heal the discomfort. See, a lot of times we say, okay, discomfort is an important part of success. But at the same time, if I find myself laying on the couch, ruminating about what I'm not doing that's not good enough according to some version or standard that I've invented in my head, according to what everybody else has told me that I need to do, and if I don't do that perfectly, then I'm a terrible human being. And I allow those words that people have projected onto me based off of the standards that they hold themselves to, because that's what we do. We end up forcing other people's opinions into our brain based off of what other people have told us how we should live our life. And yet we get to choose to not be that way. We get to choose to not let performance dictate our self-worth. We get to choose to not let how things happen dictate how things go, dictate our happiness and our disappointment. And when we can learn to accept things how they are and be super, super grateful, super, super thankful. I know we're going into Thanksgiving. We're supposed to be thankful. We're supposed to be grateful. I have a life that anybody would pray for and dream of. And yet I struggle with gratitude. I struggle with gratitude. I might lose credibility to some people by saying that. But it's something that I think that we need to be intentional about. And no level of success is going to suddenly make you have more gratitude. I think that that's something to realize, is that it's a choice. It's a choice to be grateful. And for me in my life, every situation that I've been at, every single level that I've been at, I have to choose gratitude and choose presence and choose to not let how I'm feeling, not let what other people tell me, not let what other people tell me that I should be doing dictate how I'm feeling, and just learn to live my life how I want to create the life that I've dreamed of, to design my life the way that I want. And sure, not everything goes the way that I want to. I had a vision for how I thought the week would go. This week went completely different than that. And that's okay. And learning to accept myself and say, you know what? You don't need to punish yourself, Jeremiah. You don't need to beat yourself up for the fact that you didn't do 80% of what you set out to do this week. It's true, I didn't. I didn't do 80% of what I told myself that I needed to do for my business to grow this week. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay. And I'm still going to rest. And I'm still going to give myself that time tomorrow, Thanksgiving, spend time with my family. We're going to have a great dinner. Spend some of that time even this weekend. Spend some of that time. My wife's parents are coming into town. We got Christmas coming up. We got the holidays. Give yourself some time to rest, because your profit margins in your business, your income, the amount of money that you make, the amount of money that you can make will go up by how much self-care you give yourself, by how much time you take off, by how much time that you rest and you say, you know what? I don't need to push and I don't need to strive. I get it. We're all dealing with situations. This message that I'm sharing with you right now isn't a message that suddenly, because we've had success in our business, that I finally started living. I started living this way a couple years ago. And it has helped me grow and helped us build our business. It's a foundational starting place for you guys. Everything that I share applies whether you're making $1,000 a month, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000. It applies to that because it's what got me to where I'm at right now. It's what got my wife and I where we're at right now. It's what got the most successful millionaires that I know live this. And this is the example of their life that they've told me, Jeremiah, if you want to be where we're at, a multimillionaire, you need to do this. You need to live this way. And so I want to just encourage you in that. Take some time for yourself. Take some time this weekend. Take some time to rest. Take some time to spend with your family. Take some time the next month or so, as much time as you need, honestly. This is the time for self-care. Because what happens is a lot of times we end up feeling guilty in the season of what we haven't done all year. And then we make resolutions the next year that we never accomplish and that we never do because the guilt drove us to create them. And instead, when you get rid of the guilt, when you get rid of the shame, and you stop focusing on all the things that you should do, and you start making choices and decisions for what you want in your life. And then you start doing that stuff that you want. You're no longer powerless to your situation, even if it seems that way. When my wife and I, when we were drowning $70,000 in credit card debt, it felt like we were powerless to our situation. And now we've paid off all of that debt, and we've grown our business to multiple seven figures, a monthly income. If we stay consistent at $160,000 a month, that's over $2 million a year. Like, that's amazing, right? And I know that we're going to go beyond that. But it started with what I'm talking about, self-care. It started with taking care of ourselves, taking care of myself. And part of that is I spend time in reading the Bible, in prayer. It's a big part of my journey. It's a big part of what really I would say in the last month has had the most impact. Is spending more time reading the Bible and in prayer. Not out of some religious ritual, but because I want to connect with what is God speaking? What is he saying? What does he want to tell me? What are the secrets that are hidden in the strategies that God has for me? And I know that through self-care, that's when he can speak. That's when we can listen to what is out there, to what's in the atmosphere, to what's floating around. There's ideas floating around everywhere. There's ideas ready to be grabbed that are multi-million-dollar ideas floating around everywhere. And if you have the intuition to hear and discern and listen, you can identify them before anybody else does. That's been something that I've experienced. My mom has experienced. The multimillionaires that I know, they experience that and they walk and they live that. And that's something that I think that if you're watching this right now, you can experience as well. And that's what I want to encourage you in. Self-care, taking care of yourself and making it a priority. Loving yourself. I get it. You pour yourself out so much. You pour yourself out for everybody else so much. It's time to take care of you. And it's going to affect every other part of your life positively. All right? So happy pre-Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy Black Friday coming up. We're going to be having a sale, a $4.95 training bundle. I'm still putting the bundle together, but it's only $4.95, and it's going to be coming soon for you this weekend. If you've been plugging in with me and you want to know what is the system that has allowed us to create $160,000 a month in our business, I'm gonna have that for you. If it was free, honestly, you wouldn't really respect it that much. But because you got to pay for it, I know you will. And so $4.95, I will let you know when that's ready to go. You'll get an email if you're on my email list.